Welcome to another episode of Single Guy Food. Today we are going to be making mac and cheese, right? But not the kind that comes out of the box and you just add water and heat it up. We are gonna make our very own, everything except for the actual noodle shells. Maybe someday we'll do that, I don't know. We are going to make our own cheese sauce, and then we are going to top it with Italian hot sausage. I've never done that before. We're gonna give it a go, see how it tastes, and then we're gonna throw it in the oven. We're gonna bake it so that the sides get nice and crispy. So stay tuned and hang out here at Single Guy Food. We're gonna keep the ingredients pretty simple. I mean, this is not going to be a challenging process. This is not gonna be a challenging recipe. We are still in sort of the crawl phase of our cooking journey, where we're trying to get better. We're trying to learn other recipes. We're trying to make stuff ourselves that you can buy in a box at the store. Obviously, it's gonna taste better if you do it yourself, and it's gonna be healthier. Essentially, what we're going to be using today is we're gonna use some medium macaroni shells. You can use any cheeses that you want. Whatever cheeses that you like, use that. Either buy it so that it's already sort of shredded, or you can buy it in the cubes and you can grate it yourself. I am going to use Carolina Reaper cheddar mixed into this, so it's gonna be sort of spicy. Anyways, moving on. When we go to make the cheese sauce, we're gonna use some milk, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of paprika, a teaspoon of cayenne, a tablespoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. We're gonna mix that in with our cheese and with our milk. The first thing that we want to do is we want to get a pot that's about 4 to 6 quarts in size, and we want to fill that up with water, and then we want to get that water on the stove and bring that to a boil. That's going to be for our medium macaroni shells. So there's our water. We are so close to coming up to boiling. Once we hit boiling, we are going to add our macaroni. That water is almost up to a boil, so we're gonna get our macaroni shells ready to go, drop them in there, and then we're gonna let them go for, the instructions say 8 minutes, but we're gonna be baking the last step is going to be baking our mac and cheese in the oven. I'm thinking if we cooked the pasta for the 8 minutes till it got to where it needs to be, and then we put it in the oven, we might be overcooking the pasta. So I am going to, instead of doing 8 minutes, I'm gonna do, let's say 7. I'm gonna do 7 minutes. I would say add probably, depending on how many people you're gonna feed. For me, I'm just a single guy. So I'm gonna be eating this mac and cheese for my lunch throughout the week. So probably 3 meals is what I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna use, I think I'm gonna do 3 cups of the mac and cheese shells, and we're gonna see where that takes us. Okay, first cup of medium-sized macaroni shells in. 2 cups and 3 cups. Now it's easy. We're just gonna let that sit for, what did I say, 7 minutes, and then we're gonna pull it off the stove, and then we're just gonna drain it. While the noodles are sitting on the stove, the next step that we are gonna do is let's go ahead and get our spicy Italian sausage going. Obviously, you don't need to use spicy Italian sausage. You can use sweet sausage. You don't have to use sausage at all. I think the next time I do this, I might try it with some bacon in there, maybe even some hamburger meat in another future video. What we're gonna do is we wanna put these in a pan on the stove, and then we're gonna basically put that at medium-high heat and we are going to brown them. The second step is once it's already browned, we're gonna add about a half a cup of water to the pan. We're gonna cover it and we're just gonna heat it up and just let it sort of simmer in that water. We just added basically a spoonful of duck fat to this pan. And then I'm adding 3 of my Italian sausages. You can hear it sizzling. We are at about medium heat, medium-high heat. We're just gonna let these go, and then when I can tell that it has browned on that side that's touching the pan, I will flip them, and I'm just gonna keep flipping them until each side has been browned.
A few moments later.
Let's check on these bad boys. Watch out, grease is splattering. It's gonna be hot. Look at that, see? That is browned. That's what we're looking for. So now I'm just gonna flip these over. They're just about gonna be ready to have the water added and then to simmer. In the meantime, our mac and cheese is ready. So all we gotta do now is take this off the stove, take it over to the sink, and we're just gonna strain it so that all that water gets out of there. Just slowly drain that water. Nice and easy. And there you go. Let most of that water get out of there, shake it. Next step, we need to finish cooking off this Italian sausage. So I'm gonna add a half cup of water. And then I'm just laying these back down. So the next thing we need to do is make sure that the heat is turned down to about medium-low, put on our lid, and then we're gonna set the timer for 12 minutes and let these simmer in that water. After 12 minutes, these things are gonna be ready to go, and we're just gonna slice them so that we can put them inside the macaroni. I mean, we are like professionals over here. Anyway, the next thing that we need to do is we need to get our cheese sauce going. First thing that we want to do, get ourselves a decent sized saucepan, put it on the stove, set it to, I did medium heat. We want to add some butter. I did a pretty healthy 2 knifeluls of butter in there. That's real scientific, 2 knifeluls of butter. That butter's just gonna start melting down. Okay, so now I have taken flour, all-purpose flour, and a spoon, and I am just spooning a little bit of flour in there. And that's just gonna help thicken it up, right? So mix it in with that butter. That's just gonna help thicken that butter up. I am not gonna tell you how much cheese to add or what cheese to add. All I'm gonna tell you, add what cheese you like and as much as you like. So here, I am doing mild cheddar. I'd say that was probably like a cup. Now, I'm gonna add a little bit of milk to this. So slowly add milk. That's good enough for right now. Get yourself one of these little spatulas here and give that all a good mix. And you just want that first batch of cheese that you added to melt down. I'm just adding 3 slices of that Carolina Reaper cheese. That stuff is going to be hot. My cheese is getting a little thick. That sauce is getting thick. So I'm just adding some more milk. Because again, I don't want the sauce to be super thick. I don't want it to be a sheet of cheese. I want it to be a sauce. There we go. Look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add some Mexican cheese. Just because I have some on hand. Let's season this stuff. We can't not season. I'm just adding some fresh cracked black pepper, salt. This is 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of cayenne, 1 tablespoon of garlic, 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. Give that a good mix. Our sauce is kind of getting thick again, so this is where we're gonna add a little bit more milk. We wanna keep it running. We don't want the sauce being too thick that it's not gonna coat our macaroni noodles very well. Okay, so what have we done so far? We got our noodles done. We got our cheese sauce. We've got our hot Italian sausage done. And that, folks, is what we're about to dice up. So we only did the 3 links. Here we go. Have a nice sharp knife. We're just gonna make, oh, look at that. We're just gonna make nice, thin cuts. I'm gonna finish cutting all this up, nice thin cuts, check on the cheese sauce, and then we're gonna get ready to combine everything into a oven safe container so that we can go ahead and bake this stuff. That's the final step. Here's our mac and cheese medium-sized shells. Here's our diced up sausage. I think what makes more sense, the order of operations here, would be to add the Italian sausage into these shells and then add the cheese and give everything a good mix so that everything is coated. So that's what we're gonna do. Bam, that was super easy. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's get that cheese sauce mixed in here. Let me turn sideways so you can see it. Ooh, look at that. Oh. Can you see that? All right, now let's get this all mixed up and coated. Look at this. That looks fantastic. Let's get this put into a oven safe baking sheet. We're gonna put it in there. We're gonna top it with a little bit more cheese and some breadcrumbs so that we can get some of that crunch. We're gonna let this bake. So you wanna have your oven heated up to 325. And then once we're ready to pop this in, we're gonna let it go. We're gonna let it go for 15 minutes, I think, but we're gonna keep an eye on it and just make sure that it's not burning. Hang with me. We're gonna get all this knocked out. This is gonna be quick, easy. You're gonna love it, I think. All right, thanks for watching Single Guy Food. If you haven't already, click like, click subscribe. I think I got 2 subscribers, folks. I've got 2 subscribers, so that's pretty awesome. All right, so there you go. We've got everything put into an oven safe dish. And now we're gonna pop this in the oven that's set at 325 and we're gonna let it go for 15 minutes, but we're gonna keep an eye on it. We wanna make sure that we don't overcook it. But before we put it in there, we've got a couple other things we need to do yet. We are going to, you know, I didn't use any Parmesan and I have some left and I don't want it to go bad. So I'm gonna sprinkle Parmesan on the top. This definitely isn't going to be the most healthy of dishes that we make, but don't worry, we will make up for it. Okay, now I am taking just plain breadcrumbs, and I'm just dropping that on the very top of this. I'm not mixing it in, we're just dropping it on the very top. So we got everything nice and coated. We got just a little sprinkle of some additional cheese, shredded cheese on the top, and then we added our breadcrumbs. So now, oven 325, we're gonna let it go for 15 minutes. While that's cooking in the oven, I think I might have mentioned that I was gonna do something else to this dish. If I didn't mention it, I'm going to now. I am going to top it with green onions. I like green onions uncooked. I like them raw. In fact, I like most of my vegetables raw. It's weird, I don't know. someday I'll try cooked vegetables. Carrots are okay. Potatoes are okay, obviously, but like onions, I gotta have them raw. In the meantime, while that's in the oven going, I'm gonna go ahead and dice up some green onions that I can sprinkle on the top of our Italian sausage mac and cheese dish. So as I said, we are gonna top this with green onions. So I've already washed my onions. They're sitting on my cutting board. Okay, so I always cut the this part off where the roots are, and then we're just gonna give it a nice fine chop. So now I've got some diced green onions ready to sprinkle on the top of our mac and cheese. Speaking of mac and cheese, I am just going to peek inside and see what it looks like. I'll let you know here in a second. All right, so I originally said that we were gonna put it in the oven and bake it at 325 for about 15 minutes. It turns out that you don't wanna bake, you want to broil so that you can get that crispiness on the top. So that's what I went and did. I ended up changing it over to broiling. Broiling does not take anywhere near as long, so you definitely need to pay attention to what you're doing. Definitely need to keep an eye on it. And look, if you don't care about adding that additional crunch and all that stuff, then you don't even have to put it in the oven. You could have stopped as soon as we mixed everything together. It was ready to eat at that point. Look at that. So you do get, I do have some spots that are a little bit darker. And those are actually where the Italian sausage was at. So it's part of like the Italian sausage just cooked a little bit more. So we're gonna check and see if it has a burnt taste. But for right now, let's plate this thing. This is more than enough food to last me an entire 3 days. I mean, this is way more than 3 days worth of food, but it is what it is. So here's the plate. I mean, that looks good. You know what would make it better? Sprinkling just enough of the onion. Get in there and get a good look at that. Look at that. So this was just some hot sauce I put on the plate. It's called Truff. And it's just got black truffle oil mixed in with hot sauce. It's pretty good. But now you can see the Italian sausage, the melted cheese, and the macaroni. Okay, let's get in here. Let's get make sure we've got some green onion, make sure we've got some macaroni, make sure that we got some Italian sausage. I can see the smoke coming off of it, so this is still gonna be hot. And actually, let me get some of that crisp. There, we got some of that crispy, some of the breadcrumbs we put on top. Let's take a bite, and then let's talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, what we would do different if there's any of those things. Here we go. Okay. I am telling you, wow. I gotta do another. I don't know if you could hear the crunch. You probably couldn't. I mean, I'm just filming on some camera. I don't have a microphone strapped to my cheek. Wow. Here we go. I don't even know what to say right now. This is literally one of the best meals I've ever cooked. Here's the thing, I've never cooked this before. I have never made this dish before. Fantastic. Fantastic. I love this dish. I think if you do it, you would love it too. I'm dead serious. This is an easy single guy dish. Thinking about what I didn't like. 1, I should have paid more attention to it while it was under the broiler. It did get, the Italian sausage is okay charred, but the breadcrumbs, some of the breadcrumbs probably got a little overcooked, and you can taste that. You can hardly taste it. I don't even know that I taste it. I can see it. I can see it on the dish. I like hot things, but where I would dial it back is I added cayenne pepper, I added crushed red pepper, and I did do Carolina Reaper cheese. I probably could have just used the Carolina Reaper cheese, right? I wouldn't have needed all that other stuff. And let's not forget, we used spicy Italian sausage too. So we have a lot of heat here, even for me. My recommendation to you would be get mild sausage. If you try this, come back. If you liked it, come back to this channel, to this video, click like, click subscribe, and let me know that you liked it. I'm telling you that you will. Stay tuned for the next Single Guy Food. Peace.